shift focus now, and this has got to do with the politics being played out over NPR as well as the NRC. Now, just days after Prime Minister said that there are no talks of bringing NRC into the country, across the country, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that there's no discussion on nationwide NRC for now. The BJP president said that the Prime Minister was right. There's no discussion on a pan-India NRC yet, either in the cabinet or parliament. The Home Minister said that detention centres have been there in India for many years and they've not been built by the Modi government. He went on to add that these centres are only meant for illegal immigrants. This clarification comes after days of violent protests across the country against the Citizenship Amendment Act and the NRC. The opposition, however, alleges that along with the new citizenship law, the NRC can be used to target a particular community.
ये का सबसे बड़ा अगर रेजिस्टेंस कहीं से आना था तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट और बंगाल से आना था, क्योंकि ढेर सारे शरणार्थी वहां हैं, वहां उनको नागरिकता मिलेगी तो लोकल लोगों के अंदर अनरेस्ट आ सकता था। वहां कंपैरेटिवली कुछ नहीं हुआ, कंपैरेटिवली। और बाकी सारे राज्य जहां सीए का कोई लेन देन ही नहीं, वहां पॉलिटिकल आंदोलन चलाया गया।
लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी के भाषण से ऐसे लगा कि देयर इज अ रीथिंक आपकी पार्टी में, और ये आपके मैनिफेस्टो में है, लेकिन आप शायद लागू नहीं करेंगे।
देखिए, इस पर अभी इसलिए चर्चा करने की जरूरत नहीं क्योंकि एनआरसी अभी कहीं विचार में ही नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री ने ठीक कहा है कि ना कैबिनेट में चर्चा हुई, ना पार्लियामेंट में एनआरसी ये एक्ट में किसी ने कहा है।
Okay, let's go across to Arunima now. You know, Arunima, the need for the Home Minister to give this interview, to come out with that clarification, is there actually a rethink which is taking place within the government, or they're just going to bid for time?
I don't know whether I should call it rethink or not, but there is definite recalibration of strategy. The fact that NRC is something that the All India NRC is something that the BJP is committed to in its manifesto is very clear. It's there in black and white. Home Minister on the floor of the House has often made this argument that we didn't hide anything. We committed to these things and people voted for us. We've come back with an absolute majority. So we have to fulfill the commitment that we have given to people. Given that background, I think because of the international ramification of what was happening in the country, the protests that were happening were being seen in a very poor light. And coming as soon as it did after the Kashmir decision was taken, Kashmir fallout, I think government managed to control by saying that this is an internal matter. Even when Pakistan was trying to build this narrative that this is happening because Kashmir is a Muslim majority area. Soon after that, for this narrative to again go internally that this law is anti-Muslim, that the government is anti-Muslim, international ramifications are also being felt by the government. The organization of the OIC, for example, was not taken kindly to what was happening in this country. Japan Premier's visit was cancelled. There was fallout of the Bangladeshi foreign minister cancelling his visit. So I think because of the international pressure also, because of the fact that protesters were just not backing off, I would say the government is taking a step back and rethinking as to what is the best possible way to bring in a national register for citizens, to build that support. Right now, I think the timing they feel is not right, and therefore it's a step back.
Okay, but also, Arunima, to go back to the NPR and the NRC issue, because yesterday, despite the clarification coming in from the government, the opposition keeps on insisting that there is a link between the two. There is a backdoor entry into NRC which is happening to the NPR.
Yes, and the reason that they're saying it is because, Ministry of Home Affairs is on record. They're on record in their annual report. They're on record on the floor of the House. Repeatedly they have said, even when questions were asked, then MOS Home Kiran Rijiju, in response to a question asked by Asaduddin Owaisi, had also said that the way NRC data will be collected is through NPR. The NPR database will be used to collect the NRC data. So given the fact that they have come out on record so many times, now for the Home Minister or the Prime Minister to say in a public rally or in a television interview, record-wise, law-wise, what is said on the floor of the House is more legally tangible than what is said in an interview or in a public rally. And that is what the opposition is pointing out, to say, how do we trust you because you've said something else on the floor of the House and now your public statements are differing, but that difference in the public statement is not backed legally.
Okay, thank you very much, Arunima, for putting that into perspective. Not that the opposition is listening to all those assurances coming in from the government. Their opposition to NRC, NPR and the Citizenship Amendment Act continues. In fact, Shaukata Roy, the Trinamool Congress was speaking to my colleague Mariashki.
There was no hue and cry then.
Shaukata Roy, the fact is that the government of West Bengal has also used the data that was provided through the NPR. The household data was used by the state governments of Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Odisha, Manipur for the Sarvam scheme and the PDS scheme, and Rajasthan for Bhamasha. So the question is that this has been used for the socio-economic benefits as well.
That was in the past. Now a new situation has arisen where the Prime Minister and the Home Minister are talking at cross purposes. The Home Minister said in Lok Sabha on 10th of December, I heard it with my own ears, it's recorded, that there will be NRC throughout the country. He said it not once but twice during the reply on the Citizenship Amendment Bill. And the Prime Minister on 22nd of December says in Ramlila Maidan, there was never any talk of NRC. It was not discussed in cabinet. So who is telling the untruth? The Home Minister or the Prime Minister? When this point is not clear,
Sir,
I have
both
nothing,
of them are saying the same
we had
thing.
nothing against the NPR. Earlier when the NPR was made, the West Bengal, please listen to me. Earlier when the NPR was made, West Bengal government did not object to it. But now, when doubts and suspicions have arisen about the basic intention of the government, when the two top functionaries of the government are talking at cross purposes, West Bengal cannot be a party to forming the NPR.
Okay.
The other point I want to clear, if we will not have time later, that in the Citizenship Amendment Act, in paragraph 2, section 2, they said that provided that any person belonging to Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi or Christian from Afghanistan, Bangladesh or Pakistan who entered India on or before 31st day of December 2014 shall not be treated as illegal migrant for the purpose of this act. So illegal migrant, so if a Muslim comes, he will be treated as an illegal migrant. So this is quite clearly discriminatory, anti-constitutional.
Okay, on a day like yesterday, when the cabinet updated the NPR, the opposition felt that they have another issue against the government. They accused the government of backdoor entry into NRC and the Citizenship Amendment Act, even as protests over this continues in many parts of the country. The cabinet yesterday cleared this proposal to update the National Population Register. Meanwhile, the government has also cleared the air on NPR, and it was done by the Home Minister, who said that there is no link between the NRC and the NPR. The Home Minister Amit Shah said that NPR data cannot be used for the purpose of NRC in any which way and therefore does not affect anyone's nationality. NPR is basically a list of everyone living in the country for the last 6 months or more, including the foreign citizens.
देश में जो भी रहते हैं उनके नाम रजिस्टर्ड किए जाते हैं, जिसके आधार पर देश की अलग अलग योजनाओं का आकार बनता है. और एनआरसी है, नेशनल रजिस्टर ऑफ सिटीजन्स, इसमें से हर व्यक्ति से प्रूफ मांगे जाते हैं कि आप बताइए कि भाई आप किस आधार पर इस देश के नागरिक हो. ये दोनों प्रक्रिया का कोई लेन देन नहीं है, न दोनों प्रक्रिया का एक दूसरे के सर्वे में उपयोग हो सकता. एनपीआर का कोई भी डेटा एनआरसी के उपयोग में आ ही नहीं सकता, क्योंकि ये अलग प्रक्रियाएं हैं. सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट में भी किसी की भी नागरिकता लेने का कोई प्रोविजन ही नहीं है. कोई मुझे समझा दे कहाँ है. मैं अभी भी सभी राजनीतिक दल को भी कहना चाहता हूं, अगर आपके मन में स्पष्ट रूप से कोई शंका है तो मैं सार्वजनिक रूप से एएनआई को कह रहा हूं, पूरा देश सुनेगा इसको, कि आप शंका निकाल दीजिए कि ये डेटा का उपयोग एनआरसी बनाने में होगा या यही एनआरसी है. दो में से एक भी सच्चाई नहीं। और मैं समझाने का पूरा प्रयास करूंगा। मैं नहीं चाहता कि बंगाल के गरीबों को इससे होने वाले फायदे से बंगाल के गरीब और केरल के गरीब वंचित रह जाए। तो मैं पूरा प्रयास करूंगा कि सभी राज्य एनपीआर से जुड़ जाए।
इस बार आने वाले यानी 2020 के अप्रैल से सितंबर तक 6 महीने ये काम चलेगा। इस बार टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करते हुए ये प्रक्रिया आसान बनाई है। हर बार आपको भी अनुभव होगा कि जनगणना का आपके घर में फॉर्म आता है तो वो इतना लंबा होता है कि वो भरने में घंटा 1.5 घंटा लगता है। अब इसका ऐप तैयार किया है और इसलिए ऐप पर जो आप भरोगे कोई भी प्रूफ देने की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई भी कागज देने की जरूरत नहीं है। आपके सवालों को पहले ही मैं जवाब देता हूं। इसमें ना प्रूफ है, ना कागज है, ना बायोमेट्रिक है। इट इज सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन।
भाई साहब याद रखो, अमित शाह से हिंदुस्तान के किसी भी टीवी चैनल पर बैठकर बहस करने तैयार हो, मैं बहस करने तैयार हूं। जो अमित शाह ने कहा कि एनपीआर का एनआरसी से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है, बराबर है। अमित शाह झूठ कह रहे हैं। एनपीआर जो आइंदा साल 2020 अप्रैल में शुरू होगा, नेशनल पॉपुलेशन रजिस्टर जिसको अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं, उसका ताल्लुक एनआरसी से है।
Okay, Arunima, there's this clarification which is coming from the government that please there's no link between NPR and the NRC. Yet we've been seeing, statistics and, the pictures of the forms which have been put out by many of the opposition leaders claiming that, simple things. For example, where the place of birth of your parents, so on and so forth. Any clarity on that?
So, Home Minister has now given that interview and said that there is no link between NPR and NRC. But like I was telling you earlier also, this is different from what the Home Ministry has said earlier. This is the annual report of 2018-19, the replies given on the floor of the House. They all have built the case and it's there in the law. When Section 14 was inserted in the Citizenship Amendment Act, what it said is that a National Register of Citizens will be created, and at the end of that process, an identity card will be given. And how will that NRC be created? The database of NPR will be used. So this is something for which MHA is on record, and it's on record from the time when the UPA was in power. The fact that you notified or Cabinet has approved NPR just a few days after the CAA was approved, Citizenship Amendment Act got the nod of the President. The timing of it all, even though HM says that NPR and NRC are not connected, if they are not connected, what is unanswered is why then are you doing an NPR? Because the census and NPR data more or less are similar. Their explanation that census data cannot be used for any policy making, whereas NPR data can be used, that's not cutting a lot of ice with the opposition. What the RGI, the Registrar General of India, is telling us is that give us a little more time because the modalities are still being worked out as to how the NPR form will be different from census, how the two enumeration process will be a little different. So once those modalities will be are worked out, perhaps these unanswered questions will have a clearer answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Arunima, for putting out the clarifications coming in from the Home Ministry as well. But what exactly is NPR? That's what Maha is going to take us through.
So what exactly is the National Population Register? Well, it's basically a list of everyone living in India for the last 6 months or more. But this is not a citizenship drive, since even foreigners who have been living in India for the last 6 months are counted. It's compulsory for all Indians to register for NPR, though Assam is excluded because of the recent NRC exercise that was carried out in the state. This exercise will be carried out between April and September next year. Now let's break down what you need to know or do for the National Population Register. Let's start with the first bit. You're required to tell your name, sex and date of birth, as well as the names of your parents and spouse if you're married. You'll also have to list your place of birth and nationality, your current address and how long you've been living there, details of your permanent address, as well as your occupation and educational qualification. What you don't need to provide are any documents. In fact, biometrics will also not be collected. Giving your passport or Aadhaar number is only voluntary.
Okay, news continues over here on CNN News 18, but do log on to news18.com as well.